What if every experience, every hardship, every obstacle was given to you, not to break you, but to mold you and strengthen you? What if the center of your suffering was actually the key to ultimate health? And what if your own pain was meant to be the catalyst for your greatest purpose? Welcome to Buddha Belly Life, empowering purpose, mind to microbiome. Hey guys, it's Coach Britt. Welcome to the Buddha Belly Life podcast, session 4 of September 2021, all about creating the ultimate wellness business, the ultimate successful, awesome, able to grow, love what you do, totally fulfilling dream wellness business. I'm all about that. If you didn't hear me a bit in the first episode, I'll tell you opinionatively, like I love talking business and it's one of the things I love the most, but even though I do wellness is like a passion, empowering people is really my ultimate passion. Why those two things are connected is because there's so much fulfillment to be had off of what we do for a living. And a lot of people spend a lot of time doing things for paychecks that they hate, that do not give them motivation. There's a lot of dreams that go that never come into fruition, I guess you could say, because, of the type of world we live in and the constraints that we live in based on what we think we can achieve. And so why I love business so much is still because I love empowerment so much. I'm all about believing that there's just no ceiling in this life on anything that we can do and achieve. And if you want something, if you have a passion for it, then that's a gift to you. You roll with it. The only thing that you will fail at is if you leave it on the table and you never see it, or if you drop it when you're halfway through because it got too hard, or because you doubted yourself too much, or you were too embarrassed or fearful of failing in front of people, blah, 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 blah. There's a thick skin that, is necessary for us to really reap the rewards of success and of passion and of fulfillment. And there's just nothing like it. This life is short. Why not do things that really make you happy? It doesn't mean you quit your 9 to 5 tomorrow and your family doesn't know how they're paying rent. It means you find a creative way to start implementing a little place for something that means more to you. And you nurture it and you build it and you grow it little by little, even if you're doing something else to support yourself, until eventually you can start trading the time for time, trading the thing you don't want to do for the thing you really love and that really gives you so much, So with that said, we are talking about the new age of media and how marketing is working. So I am not a professional on this, but I do pay a lot of them. I do pay a lot of people who spend a lot of time knowing way more about this than me. And I do rely on them to know a lot and explain things to me, because this business was literally built. So the business of the school, so Holistic Wellness Coaching Academy, as well as, the Buddha Belly Life brand, podcast, gut restoration course, all that stuff, book, was all done very, sorry, don't listen to that. That was a phone. It was all done very grassroots. Okay. So it was done just like anybody else. I mean, any stay-at-home mom or parent or, person that is, creating something on the side that they want to do more, starting in a little corner somewhere, with just a desire for something and not money or skill set per se, right? It was started just like that. So I am so passionate about that because I did it. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. Once you see something, once you learn to ride a bike, you believe everyone can ride a bike. Why wouldn't you believe that people could ride a bike? Because you remember that moment when it finally clicked for you and you felt it and you got the motion going and all of a sudden you rode a bike, right? So if someone else is like, oh gosh, I'm never going to be able to ride a bike, you'd be like, no, you can. There's this clicking point, and all of a sudden when it's there, you start moving. And once you feel it, you can't unfeel it. You can't unexperience it. That's business. Once you feel that impossibility, that limitless potential, you can't unfeel it. So I'm just super passionate about that. And that is how, we got here. So we're going to talk about marketing, and my opinions on it at least, and they're helpful. Hopefully they're helpful. But one of the biggest things now is, so traditional marketing strategy, I feel, even the last few years up until just recently, was obviously social media has been king. And so investing, the people that we're seeing the most, social media visibility is what drove most of our traffic. And so the people that were seen the most were the ones who were either the biggest influencers with the most likes, or the people who paid the most for ads, and you see the most ads. And if you haven't noticed lately, there's not been a lot of ads on social media. We've had a lot of changes to social media with the pandemic, with the political climates, with all the kind of chaos in the media world. And so it's not the same. We're not seeing a lot of ads in general anymore, let alone, they're really not seeing a huge, a lot of success, I think, even from paid acquisition via traditional, ad outlets on things like Facebook and Instagram and things like that. So what does that mean for us when a lot of people have built so much on these platforms? What is, we have on our coaching school page and stuff, I think we have something like 12,000 people, over 12,000. The Buddha Ballet podcast is like, over 8,000. And visibility can still be very low if it's not favored. They did that. They changed that a lot a few years ago. They changed some algorithm things, and it was really to favor encouraging businesses to pay for ads instead of get this free traffic, because we tapped into it. With the Gut Health School, we tapped into that in the beginning when Instagram still had really great visibility. And we kind of growth hacked our way in the beginning directly by doing that, because we just hit a sweet spot at a time when it worked, and it was a great way to reach people. And that was our only avenue at that time. It was just Instagram, which is crazy for me to think of now. And we were able to, you can do it from your phone. And so it's changed so much now because you can't guarantee your stuff's going to be seen. So people have invested a lot of time into their social media pages and maybe advertising and things, not to see a huge ROI, not to see a huge return on investment. And so what do we do with that? Is it worth just junking our Facebooks and our Instagram? No. One thing so I've got some people that I work with, and I should shout them out here, but I haven't got his permission, so I'm not going to. But they talk about basically what's happened with social media, and the opinion of some of the media and marketing people that I work with is that it's still necessary, like a business card, like a website. Like, think about it. Think about how often you go to Instagram because you hear about somebody or whatever and you want to look up their stuff. You can snoop everything there and you're going to get a great picture of who they are. It's like Instagram is like a visual branding board. That's what I love the most about Instagram. If you can set up an Instagram, for your business, I highly recommend it, even just for laying out the branding aspect. In your bio, you've got basically your mission statement, or who are you, that you have to convey and sell well in few words. So you have to do it with your business anyway. So it's great to toy with that a little bit. You've got it's all, pictures and visual appeal. So you've got your visual marketing branding, so you can see that. And that's, people love, to see pretty visual board. So it allows you to go, hey, sorry about that again. In every episode, I will make a point to hit the microphone. So I just hope that everybody gets used to that, because there will be at least once in probably each set of sessions, but maybe once in a couple episodes. So anyways, so you're, you've got your visual branding board in Instagram, and you've got your traffic direction, because you can put your website or your landing page or wherever you're going to funnel people into this place where you hopefully prompt them to do something. Not only that, but you can search your ideal client. Like, in what area can you just search your ideal client and connect to them directly? You can search hashtags that are relevant to what you do. You can put hashtags that are relevant to what you do in the content you post, and increase the chances that your ideal client is going to see what you're doing. It is like, Instagram is definitely a place to start if you have not done any kind of, personal branding, or even if you already have, like, you really just need that. It's a great business card. It's like an interactive, 4D kind of, level business card where it says so many things about you. It can drive traffic to more information. There's enough words and writing in there to get an idea of a feel for the energy behind what you do and information about what it is. So I can't say enough how much I love it for those things. Now, visibility wise, totally opposite. I do not, I don't think that visibility has been great. Like I said, they really wanted people to pay more for ads, and then ads stopped getting seen so much. So it just has kind of not been a great place for that. It's a great place to leave content to engage with our already followers if they're really engaged in our stuff. But other than that, it's a really great interactive business cards, a really great branding board place to be. And it's connected to our Facebook. And so Facebook is again, same thing. We're not seeing a lot of great ad stuff on there. So one thing I would not recommend doing, especially if you are a new business, is throwing a bunch of money at paid social media advertising. Now, this is just my opinion, but it's really, you really have to decide if it's working well for you. But if you don't know your machine and you don't have somebody who's reading the analytics right for you, and you don't have a way to gauge if there is really success, we're not just talking about like click rate and visibility, but actually getting clients from investing in that. If you don't have a way to see that, you don't have a way to gauge if it's really doing anything for you, and your advertising budget or time may likely be better spent elsewhere. Do you have a desire for fulfillment? Does helping people tap into their own health mentally, emotionally, and physically fire you up? Do you believe in the impact of the gut microbiome on overall wellness? You may be an HWCA coach. For more info on our cutting-edge health coach trainings, visit hwcacoach.com. To not be on Facebook, to not be on Instagram as a business is going to hurt your business. It's not that you can't get away with it. You totally can. You can do things however you want, but it is a place where people will go to see if you are alive, to see what you were doing, to see what you were sharing, to connect to you. Maybe they want to be part of your community, and even though they never see your stuff, they just want people to know that they love this thing. Maybe they want to share something. I mean, whatever. It's still a necessary thing to nurture, but I don't think we have to put as much energy into as we used to think we had to when it was like post 4 times a day, because visibility, keeping people, driving traffic is so important. We're not seeing that as much, but it does offer a great avenue for direct outreach, within reason, or you get blocked, obviously. But if you're connecting to your ideal client, it's a great opportunity to find some of those people and to send them, connect with them personally, send them a personal message, or do some of those things. Definitely a place to start for people that are grassroots, that don't have the money to do traditional marketing and don't really, they're starting some of their stuff. But set it up right, and it can really, really, really benefit you. So next, let's see here. Paid ads, problems, creating content. Okay. Creating content has been a bittersweet for me. I think it is the kryptonite of most self-employed wellness professionals, especially females, and especially recently, because we feel this need, like I said before, to keep up all the time, thinking that our visibility via our content is what you've mainly got. And that may not be so true, but content is still important to put out there. So you've got to be able to read your audience, though. Do you have a following of people that are just looking at you all the time, and just showing your face in front of them is important frequently? Then you might be able to get away with less quality content and more quantity. But if you have people that are more after what it is you say, or you're trying to get people engaged in what you say, or you just want to really preserve the integrity of what you stand for, like I know that's me a lot, is I get sick of living in a world where you feel like you've got to put some kind of, gorgeous picture of yourself on there just to get people to listen to your words. When you want to just be able to share those words and attract people by the purpose and what you're saying and the passion you have for what you're doing. It can be a frustrating place to be. So decide what you're going to invest in. Me, most of the time I commit anyway. I commit to the integrity of the quality of the content, the purpose behind the content, and it'll feed who it's going to feed. And I'm fine with that. I make peace with that. So, but we've all got a different thing, and your business is going to be different from someone else's. And so you're going to gauge what you put on there and how often. Just make sure you're not trading too much of your time getting sucked into the black hole of content creation, because I see too many people do that. I see them create so much content, expecting their content to sell their product or their service. And if or when it doesn't gain enough attention or attraction, they get really frustrated because they're relying on that. They're not actually selling. They're just creating content. That's just a touch point. So if you followed the machine, the whole build your machine part of session 2, you'll remember we talked about touch as the initial. Touch isn't necessarily a CTA, a call to action. It's not necessarily going to nurture them enough. Most people need to be touched. I think they said an average of 6 times before they purchase something. And so that's all it is the content creation. The content creation you cannot stop there. You really need to have a form of contact or a funneling system that takes them from the touch point to something else. And if you spend all your time, going crazy on content creation, it can be just a rabbit hole of wasted time. Your time can be very underutilized. And then I think that's why, especially this day and age, this social media day and age, you see a lot of entrepreneurs get very burnt out because they try and do it that way. They try and build their businesses with the content that they create, and it does not turn or put people through the whole process. It does not close enough sales. So remember, it's just the touch point. Make it quality, gauge what it looks like for your business, gauge the best outlets of doing it. I'll tell you right now that YouTube is one of the better places for algorithms. I am a huge fan. Politics aside, we're not going to go into any of that, but I'm a huge fan of Google. I like, for my business, I like the Google PPC. I love the YouTube, which has a great, relationship with Google. I like a lot of that stuff, and we get great traffic and visibility from that. It by far supersedes anything that we see from social media. And so I'm a big fan of Google. I think YouTube is, while it's been out a long time, it's underutilized for some of these things. And it's definitely a place to think about investing in, especially if you have stuff where you're giving value, if you're giving out information, if you're like me, where you don't want to have to just, shake your booty on a camera to get somebody to hear your very meaningful words, to want to heal their gut, to want to get healthy, to want to do whatever, then getting in front of the camera and speaking truth, that's where people go to learn. They go to YouTube because they want to learn something. So if you have something you're giving somebody because they want to learn about it, maybe they need to learn about your product. Maybe they need to learn about your service. Maybe they need to learn about themselves, which then entices them to purchase your service because they didn't know they needed it until you educated them on it. So that's a great avenue for that. It's excellent if you can use it in your websites and stuff, because it really does increase your SEO naturally. At least I've seen that. Okay. Don't take any of my words for this 100%. Ask people who are the professionals in marketing and media, and it changes every day anyway. But that's what we've seen the best. So those are my 2 cents on that. And then lastly, you guys, never underestimate the power of direct outreach. There is ways to automate direct outreach, and that can be a great thing to do if you work a bigger business or you do a lot of lead generation. And it can be a great way to filter people down to create an automated form of touch, like via LinkedIn or via some of the social medias, email marketing, etc., where you are automating your initial touch point. And then the people that are interested past that, maybe you funnel them to a place where you are individually interacting with them. That is an option. But for some of you guys, if you're starting smaller and it is really personal, don't underestimate the power of personal relationship. Don't underestimate the power of local networking, going and doing events or connecting with businesses and things like that locally where you're at with confidence and quality. Don't underestimate that. Don't underestimate reaching out and starting conversation with somebody, even online, if you do it, again, with integrity and intentionality, and make sure it's the right person. You're not just, hey girl, you look like you need a side gig. I promise I'm not slighting anybody who does that, but I promise you there are more effective ways, and I teach people this all the time. So just trust me. I'm saying that to help you, not to hurt your feelings. There's a much better way to engage and create relationship. That's creative strategy all the way. And frankly, if everyone else is doing it, you're going to benefit by far more by choosing to do it differently, right? Like maybe making like a mom's group instead of reaching out to each mom individually and selling them on the idea of a side gig. Maybe you make a group and you start creating, like I said, like a little network and a play place, and it's based around female entrepreneurship and et cetera, or there's just a lot of ways to do what other people aren't doing. And that will help set you aside, set you apart a little bit more for success. So don't underestimate the power of directly talking, directly seeing, really being human with other humans. Okay. Even if it is by text or messaging initially, and don't underestimate the power of a call or of making a friend little by little. Don't be in such a rush. Don't be in such a rush to try and get to the top that you forget to create quality along the journey. I think that's an important process. So I hope that this whole focus this month has been really high value to you guys. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. I do monthly masterminds for all of the coaches at HWCA, and I love it all the time. It's one of my favorite things to do. And again, it's not just because I'm a freak about business. Honestly, monetary wealth is just a means to an end if you don't have really quality intention with what to do with it. But business itself is a great way to finance our dreams, to create the life we want if we do it right and we do it well, and to spend the days that we're here on earth enjoying and being fulfilled by the things that we actually spend our time doing, the things that we have to do to put a roof over our head. Like, why not make it good, right? So thanks, guys, for joining. And don't forget, if you haven't subscribed to the Buddha Belly Life podcast, to do that. And we will see you next week. Thank you for joining us for another empowering episode of Buddha Belly Life. For more information on gut health and mindset resources, visit buddhabellylife.com. And remember, heal yourself and then empower others to do the same.